welcome along to the ProjectCars2 Virtual Racing League, where today we are starting a brand new championship. It's the GT3 cars and it's round one at the Nürburgring, the GP circuit, so not the massive Nordschleife one, it's just the GP one we're at today. 3.2 miles, 15 turns, and even though it isn't its more famous cousin, just to the north there, it's still a fantastic circuit. And this is the lineup of drivers we've got competing in this championship. Alex CDL, our reigning champion from the Caterham Championship recently, is in the Mercedes along with his teammate there, Stuart Davis. Scuderia Sam and D-Man line up next to them in the Ferraris. Then we've got Chris Doherty and Adam in Lamborghinis. Loopy McG, Crazy Stewpot and Cherry Berry are in the Audi R8s. BTCC Dan and Roger the Dodger in the Renaults there, and Subrosa and Free Gazelle in the Porsche, and finally, we got, who else is that? Duchev in the what is that? Cadillac, I think it is. But I don't think Duchev is racing the first round, so hopefully he can join us in the future one. So it's a cracking lineup. And now over to the track guides for a little tour of the circuit here with Alex.
Thank you, Sam. In the Porsche 911 GT3, first corner, hard on the brakes, down to the first gear. Just touch the apex there, hard throttle up to second and third, back down to second ideally for this corner, or straight on, another hard brake in, 2 lines you go here. You see it's a shorter line on the inside, but you can go wide so you get a better exit out of this corner. You can run a bit wide there to gain a bit of advantage, but it's a bit bumpy. Now bang up the gears up to 5th, want to brake right now down to about 3rd gear, turning hard and fast, and another heavy brake into 2nd gear. Quite tricky really, you don't want to go too wide, otherwise that gravel track gets you on the outside. Now down into the tricky hairpin, flat out, brake on the curb. You can use the curb on the left, which is great. Then nice tight, bit poor on the exit there in the Porsche, but you want to try and hug it and really nail it so you get as much momentum as you can for the Schumacher S here. It's left and right, you can use the curbs quite nicely, but it can unsettle the car. Now 5th gear, hard braking, use a bit of the curb on the right, down to 2nd or 3rd depending on the car, use the curb on the left nicely. Now it's a long corner going onto this back straight. As we go back now, full throttle through this right kink. Don't use the curb on the right, it can unsettle the car, and then another heavy braking down to 1st or 2nd, again depending on the car. Nail the curb on the left, on the right. Now full throttle up into this final corner, a nice long right-hander, usually about 2nd gear, close to the barrier, you don't want to hit it though, otherwise it'll send you around, then full throttle over the line.
Alex, that was a hell of a lap, that was, I have to say. It was like wrestling an octopus in some of those corners. But anyway, in qualifying, it was Scuderia Sam qualifying on pole for round 1 by just less than a 10th of a second from Stuart Davis in 2nd there. Alex CDL, his Mercedes teammate, lines up in 3rd ahead of Cherry Berry, Roger the Dodger, Subrosa, 2 newcomers to the championship there. Welcome along, Chris Doherty, Crazy Stewpot, Alex Brown, D-Man, Loopy McG and Free Gazelle, and they're on the grid now waiting for the starter. Likes to go out and this new championship, and they're away, and it's Stuart Davis who gets his trademark really good getaway off the line there. Looks like Scuderia Sam's been bogged down, he's getting swallowed up by the chasing pack, and here comes Cherry Berry now in the inside in the Audi. Alex CDL's in the mix there too, Roger the Dodger, and Stuart brakes very early there on the middle of the track there, and Scuderia Sam says thank you very much, I'll just drive right round the outside, and he's going wheel to wheel with Roger the Dodger now, and going through turn 2 there, bit of banging wheels, more banging wheels now with Stuart Davis. Alex CDL looks like he's lost the back end of that Merc, and he's spinning round on the infield bit there, and now Roger the Dodger's having a bit of contact with the green Lamborghini there, Chris Doherty. He's fallen back through the field there, a little bit of argy-bargy stuff going on. He's back behind Crazy Stewpot and battling away now with Subrosa's Porsche, coming down to turn 4 I think, or turn 5, and there's a Lamborghini going through the foreground there, chasing hard after Stuart, and that's Crazy Stewpot being put on the grass. Oh, and Free Gazelle over and over and over in that Porsche. And he made contact there with the recovering Alex CDL, and now this is the battle for the lead coming down to the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. It's Scuderia Sam now chasing Cherry Berry, Stuart Davis in 3rd, Chris Doherty in 4th, Roger the Dodger's 5th, Subrosa 6th, Alex Brown up there in 7th in the sole McLaren in this field. And Scuderia Sam now chasing hard on Cherryberry. He's got a good run here for the lead now as they come down the hill, braking hard. And Stuart Davis just drives right round the outside, and Scuderia Sam's lost his momentum. And Stuart says, "Thank you very much, I will take second place now." And they go up onto the back straight. A really long run here down into the chicane at the top of the hill. It's a great chance to slipstream your opponent and try and get a dive down the inside. And that's D-Man Luck in the yellow Ferrari. He's spun round. He's getting going again now, but he's back down in 12th position, so he's got a lot of catching up to do in that car. So we've got one Ferrari near the front there, one Ferrari right down at the back. Subrosa now in the Porsche. He's chasing hard in 6th place, and he's got Alex Brown in the McLaren for company as they head over to complete lap 1. And what a lap it was, Alex.
Yeah, great lap. Really bad start for Sam there. He got absolutely swamped by about 6 cars, but made up for it after the first corner. As you see, Stu looking on the outside, Sam taking a dive, looking on there. Does he get it right? Stu will have the momentum on the outside in that powerful Mercedes. Yeah, he's just holding the inside, but that was a good attempt by Sam there. But that first lap, I have to say the big loser there was Alex spinning. It looks like he spun out and then contact with Gazelle, but you see Sam fighting back now. He'll want to get that first place. But great mix of cars. You've got looks like 6 or 7 different cars in the top 7, 8 places at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the characteristics of this GT3 championship. Will be lots of different cars in the mix for the positions. They're quite even in performance terms, despite being quite different. Some of them. We've got flat 6s, V6, V8, V10, V12s. Different types of cars as well on the go here. Stuart Davis in the Mercedes now, closing up on the Audi R8, screaming away up the hill they go. And as we visit different tracks in this championship, we will see different cars come into their own as well, different strengths and weaknesses. From practice, it looks like the Ferrari's pretty good at this track, but so is the Mercedes. And the Lambo in the early stages looks pretty good too, doesn't it, in the hands of the capable Chris Doherty?
Yeah, he's really shown how good he is in that car. It's very similar to the Audi, but as looks like Stu made a bit of a mistake, and now Sam's all over the back of him, so he'll have to go defensive into the chicane at the end of the straight. Sam is good, yeah, definitely going defensive. Sam will have a look on the outside. Bit risky because Stu can just push him off, which he does. That's now going to give Chris an advantage behind him to try and get past Sam, but he'll defend into this corner. Good defence there, but it looks like Chris tried a wider line so he can get on the inside and try and get down the straight, which he does. Great bit of driving there.
Yes, and the Ferrari and the Lamborghini go wheel to wheel. 2 Italian legends of motor racing now, wheel to wheel down into turn 1. Very tricky braking down into turn 1 there. The Ferrari's very late on the brakes, and the Lambo's trying to get him now. Going really wide, Scuderia Sam, but he'll have the inside for the next bit, and he gets a little bit out of shape. Look, he's really struggling in these early stages, it seems. And Chris Doherty is really wanting to get past. He's really pursuing hard here, and he needs to try and get past as soon as he can if he wants a chance at catching the top 2, who are pulling away ever so slightly. But it's not really, because there's still 10 seconds covering the top 9.
Yeah, and they got Roger in 5th just behind him, so he'll be pushing Chris, hoping for a mistake as he tries to get past Sam. So one mistake could promote him up to 3rd place, which he'll be hoping for. But the 2 guys in front, they're quite experienced, and they won't want the new guy to take advantage.
Yeah, but Roger the Dodger's looking really good in these early stages, isn't he, in that Renault? A newcomer to the championship, as is Subrosa as well, up there in 6th in the Porsche. And now we've got Crazy Stewpot and Alex Brown battling away. We're looking at a replay. What's this going to be of? This is of the start by the looks of it. D-Man in the Ferrari at the back there, already on the grass as they left the line. And then that's Stuart Davis in the bright orange Mercedes, braking very early, being quite cautious. Cherryberry straight down the inside. Scuderia Sam in that red Ferrari right round the outside there, quite brave. Could have easily got taken out on the outside there. And Roger the Dodger following through in that brightly coloured Renault as well, through behind Cherryberry's Audi. And now on board with Chris Doherty in the Lambo. Let's see which way he goes at the start. You can see him eyeing up the front runners there, coming around the outside of the 2 Mercs, battling away. And then the Audi appears there of, I think, Crazy Stewpot, who he gets on the inside of there, Chris. So pretty clean action, actually, all the way through the first few corners. You can see Alex DDL spinning off, though. He had a bit of a nightmare getting on the throttle there. And then Chris, a little bit of argy-bargy stuff going on with the Renault there. But all in all, not too bad. Subrosa in that 911 though had an absolutely shocking start, didn't they? Off the line there, and he was miles behind the field at the front. I think that's why D-Man went off in the grass, maybe made contact with Subrosa's Porsche there. And then Subrosa, though, by the time he gets to turn 1, he manages to brake late and he's back with the field once again. But standard of driving pretty good, I'd say, Alex, in the first corner there.
Yeah, really good. Any slight contact, you'd say, as see Alex spin off again from his over-enthusiasm with the throttle. As we now see a slow motion of Roger and Stewpot. It's a little incident as Stewpot goes through the gravel, causing all sorts of dust and bits of debris to go off, and just same good driving as well, like Alex going around the outside of the corner to avoid contact. And now we see Stu's overtake on Sam going around the outside using the power of that AMG Mercedes. It's got a beautiful amount of power just to really push on this corner, and it looks like very warm exhaust on that Audi with the red engine, you have to imagine. It's just see Stu popping around the outside there. Great move, and back live now. We've got Stu chasing Cherry Berry, and Sam, Chris and Roger all very close for 3rd place.
They are indeed, just 6.8 seconds covering the top 8 at the moment, so it's anyone's race still here on lap 3, and it looks like Chris Doughty and that Lambo is starting to get a move on, isn't he? He's eyeing up that Ferrari now for a passing manoeuvre as they go down the back straight, and Alex Brown and Crazy Stewpot having a really good little ding-dong here, going through that very fast right-hand turn there into the hard braking zone now of the chicane. Crazy Stewpot looking around the outside of Alex's McLaren, and he swoops through there in that number 4 Audi on Alex Brown, and Alex Brown is demoted down to 8th position. Or was Alex having a look on Stewpot? I can't remember. Stewpot had a bit of an incident. They got shoved on the gravel a little bit, making up for lost time, I guess, on that. And now this is back for the lead now. Look. Oh, and they're coming together between the Audi and the Mercedes there of Cherry Berry and Stu Davis as the Ferrari goes through on the inside. Very late braking manoeuvre there. He really grabbed that one, didn't he? Good opportunistic driving there. And whilst these two are watching each other, the Ferrari snuck through on the inside.
Yeah, was it good braking? Was it late braking? We'll never know, but it seemed to definitely work. He's got 1st place now from Cherry Berry and Stu, who were squabbling over that place, and Sam snuck through the inside and said thank you very much, I'll have that. So he's now in the lead, followed by Cherry Berry, but Cherry Berry is still being absolutely dogged by Stu in 3rd, so you can imagine those two won't be too happy seeing him go past. So we see Alex Brown still battling with Crazy Stewpot down in 7th place.
Absolutely, and I think, to be honest, Cherry Berry, we've seen in the past, and Stuart Davis indeed, they are two of the most fierce defenders you could possibly come up against. So when they're battling with each other, and then you get past both of them in one corner, it must be a very big relief, to be honest, for anyone who's doing that. At least Scuderia Sam there now up in front in that Ferrari. He loves Ferraris. He'll be loving this lead in the race now ahead of his 2 rivals. And Alex Brown's spinning off and spinning in his own tyre smoke. I think that was possibly his own error there. As he's trying, coming back on, he gets a little bit tail happy again. And I think that was Loopy McGee there, the Scotsman flying past him. The Flying Scotsman. And this is a replay now of Crazy Stewpot and Alex Brown battling away. What happens here? Let's have a look. I think Alex tries to go around the outside of Crazy Stewpot. Crazy Stewpot leaves him room just about, and then the banging wheels as they come onto the back straight. Good bit of action between these two. I think this battle is going to run and run, to be honest. And on board with Scuderia Sam, it's extremely late braking, wasn't it? Uses Cherry Berry as a bit of a break, has to be said, going into there. Either it was a mistake or it was a very good, well-judged overtake. But like you say, we'll never know for sure. And now back with the action. And Cherry Berry and Stuart Davis getting down to business, aren't they, to stick with that Ferrari. But look who's coming into play now, Chris in that Lambo.
Oh, but as you say that, he's got a little half spin, and that's put Roger right on his tail. So it just shows one little mistake, and you can really come under fire. Now Roger gets the inside, now just nose ahead. Chris will go for the cutback, which he does, but he's on the outside for the next corner, which isn't ideal unless he pins it and goes around the outside. But Roger's realises that, pushes him out wide, forcing him to lift off the throttle a bit, and Roger gets through. But now Chris is inside, but thinks better of it, and he's back down to 5th place. Good move there from Roger.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there from Roger the Dodger, newcomer to this league, let's not forget, in that Renault, and he's battling with one of the most successful drivers in this league, Chris Doherty, who is a real life racing driver as well. let's not forget. So he's very experienced, and a great little ding-dong between these two, and I think we can expect more of the same as Chris Doherty now gets down to business of trying to get back past, and he's now pursuing Roger the Dodger as they go through the Schumacher S's, really tucking the nose of that Lambo up underneath there, trying to make himself visible as if he needs to try, because that Lamborghini is probably the most visible thing out there, let's be honest, that bright green paintwork. And but yeah, still 10 seconds or so covering the top 7, and you can see it's starting to get a little bit hazy, and that's because there are 4 weather slots in this race, aren't there?
Yeah, you got clear, a random one, and 2 more clear ones for the end of the race, just to mix things up. So it could be rain, it could be, as you know, bit of a tap there from Chris telling Roger to hurry up. Yeah, as I was saying, it could be rain, it could be all sorts really, even snow if they're unlucky. That's just going to really throw any ideas they have on what they want for race strategy. So you could think, oh, I'll just use one set of tyres and it starts raining, and then you're in the pits for a new set of wet. So it should really make the championship interesting.
Yeah, let's hope so, and I think that's probably why we haven't seen any drivers pits. They're probably anticipating there could be some rain at some point in the next few laps, if there is going to be any rain, of course. So probably no one pitting yet, just to kind of try and anticipate that, because you don't want to be making an extra stop, do you? Because you're going to lose, what, 30-40 seconds if you do that?
Yeah, definitely. If you don't have tyres, you're definitely doing 30 seconds. And as Loopy makes a bit of a mistake, and Alex going around the outside, thank you very much, he says, as he's trying to make up lost ground after his awful first lap, spinning and then hitting Free Gazelle. But like you were saying, if you pit early with no tyres, it's about 30 seconds, 40 if you're unlucky, and then if you take tyres, it's probably more about 50 seconds. So it can really change strategies on what the weather is and where you are in the actual race.
Yeah, certainly, and if you're new to this league as well, it's worth subscribing, because we very regularly put up the most recent races, and there's plenty of races to look back through as well on the channel, so hit subscribe, and you will get notifications for when we release those new races with commentary as well, and it's usually us two doing it, isn't it? So yeah, and I think this championship is going to be extremely interesting with all the different cars and stuff, so it'll be really good actually, and really interesting to see what happens in this one. Subrosa, absolutely loving the Porsche. He loves Porsches just as much as Scuderia Sam loves Ferraris, quite possibly, and maybe not that much. But he's really coming into play now, isn't he? Closing in on Chris Doherty's Lamborghini, and Chris's challenge seems to be faded away a little bit since he got passed by Roger the Dodger, but you can never count him out, can you?
No, definitely not. He could be saving his tyres instead of pitting for new ones. He could just backing off a bit. Could be the fog's affecting him as we go to a replay here of Alex Brown. It must be his little spin. Yep, just goes wide, tyre on the gravel, hits the throttle, and around she goes. Nothing he could really do about that. As they see Loopy McGee go past, and then should see Alex. Yeah, Alex going through with the Schumacher S's. Just as a good thing he did see him, as Alex was right on the racing line there as he was coming back on.
Yeah, the closing speed was quite high there, wasn't it? It would have been a hell of a airplane crash if those two had come together, so thankfully just enough room. Alex saw him come in. And now we're back with Stuart Davis, who's really still stuck behind Cherryberry. He hasn't been able to find a way past at all, and we've got, that Mercedes got a lot of pace in it. It's a very fast racing car, but it is stuck behind Cherryberry at the moment. And Cherryberry, one of the best defenders in the league, and he really loves these GT3 cars as well. So Cherry Perry on the steering wheel setup, and Stuart Davis on the controller setup. One of 3 drivers in the league actually on the controller, and I think that was Free Gazelle, wasn't it, being lapped, and it looks like he's missing some bodywork.
Yeah, it looks like he might have just gone around. Could be losing the bodywork from the earlier incident with Alex. But he's looks like the first person to be lapped, down in 12th there. But Cherryberry does enjoy the GT3s, but the Audi isn't his first choice, so he would have wanted the Ferrari. But the Ferrari wasn't available, as it was a first come first serve, two car manufacturers in the races. So I think the only exception was the Porsche and Audi, as they that's Cherryberry and Stu coming off. He's back across the track. Oh, hold the brakes, Stu. And that's Roger and Subrosa through now as he resets the car. That was a bit too close for comfort for Roger, you can imagine.
Yeah, Roger might be needing to come in for some new underwear after that particular incident, I would have thought. Alex Brown, oh, down the inside. Oh, he's lapping Free Gazelle there. Well done, Alex Brown. And well done, Free Gazelle, for seeing him coming. I think it was very late. But yeah, Stuart Davis, it looks like he just got pushed a little bit wide there by Cherryberry. I think just hard racing that, to be honest. Stuart Davis there, slightly compromised on the outside line, not on the optimal racing line. Cherryberry understeered a bit, and well, Cherryberry gives no quarter, does he? And Stuart Davis, there he was, off in the gravel, and he's decided now is the time to pit. He doesn't foresee any rain now in this race. He thinks we're past that window, so I'm going to pit now, use my pit stop, get some hot laps in, and hope to come out somewhere near Roger the Dodger and Subrosa. And it looks like they're all pitting now as well. A lot of the drivers coming in now.
Yeah, there's Alex coming in now with Gazelle behind it, but one man who isn't is D-Man, as you see him fly past in that bright yellow Ferrari. It's you can almost confuse it with the Renault, but better not say that if Scuderia Sam hears it. You see, it looks like Chris is closing in on Stu, very close. So Stu's nailed that pit stop perfectly to coming up in front of Chris. It's only a couple of seconds, but it's worked to his advantage.
Yeah, really, really tight there actually, and I think Chris tried to predict there was going to be some sort of incident and pitted, hoping to jumps to it. Hasn't quite worked, but there's a long way to go. Well, we're halfway through this race now, so there's still quite a way to go, and a lot of racing still to be done between those two. And they will come across Demon at some point if they keep up their pace. Alex Brown exiting the pits there. Where does that put Alex, I hear you ask? Well, he is 11th in that yellow and black McLaren now. And away he goes, just ahead of, I think, Free Gazelle, who I think we also saw coming into the pits just behind him. So as you can see now, the sun is out, but it will be getting dark quite soon, because although it's a 1 PM start time for this race, in-game start time, it's times 20, isn't it, the actual time on this race? So it does get dark towards the end of this race, and that's when we can expect to see some slightly different driving styles, perhaps, as the tyres cool down and whatnot.
Yeah, you have to think they might be a bit more cautious, and talk about cautious. These two are pitting now, try and cover off from Stu, who's, he's down in 8th. They won't lose a place as Roger just gets held up there, which must feel horrible. But a bit of a race in the pits here. Who will win? Let's see. No tyres going on, which you can imagine. And it looks like Cherry just out ahead of Roger. Whether Roger got held up being released because Cherry getting out first, not too sure. But as they came in, they're going out at the same places.
It's quite an interesting one, that, actually, isn't it? Because Roger the Dodger there was really close to Cherryberry coming into the pit lane. You would have thought maybe if he'd carried on, done another couple of laps in absolutely clear air, then perhaps he could have jumped Cherryberry in the pits there. It's quite interesting to see that he followed him in. What do you reckon on that one?
Yeah, a bit interesting. He might have thought I might not have the pace on him, but as it's 30 seconds, see Loopy in the pits now. Even though they are doing similar lap times, so he might have just wanted to cover the undercut of Cherryberry by just pitting the same time, and then he can just face him on the track if he thinks he's faster. So yeah, it's interesting takes you can take from that, really. As you see, Alex first corner, nice and smooth as always. Odd livery on that one, really. You see a replay now. Free Gazelle getting lapped by Sam from Middle. Gazelle goes around and bang, T-bone straight in the side. That's why he's missing all of his bodywork. At least we find out that mystery. But Sam's very lucky there. Yeah,
indeed he was, man. His heart in his mouth there, coming around that corner, and slam. That Porsche goes over and over and over, and that's what happens when a VW Beetle comes into contact with a Ferrari.
Yeah, as these two are battling still, Roger and Cherryberry, and now Chris looking around the outside. Stu will defend, but he's going quite deep there, a bit too deep. He's in the gravel. As Chris goes through now, he has to stop. Almost hits D-Man, who gets out of the way quite nicely, but that's another mistake for Stu now, who's back in 8th, so not great at all.
That's a big shame for Stuart there. He's attacking the curbs though. He's away again now. D-Man maybe going slightly wide there, coming out of the Schumacher S's, and very wide actually in that yellow Ferrari. And now Stuart's diving down the inside, and D-Man leaves him plenty of room. they're not really racing well, they are position on the track, but I think Stewart's made his stop. Maybe D-Man hasn't. I could be wrong there, actually. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, Alex. But yeah, Stewart possibly overdriving that car slightly now after the initial shenanigans. And yeah, showing, isn't it now? Bit of frustration, maybe.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine he's a bit frustrated as he was top 3 and just silly mistake, and he's spun there, and also wasn't really his fault. It was just trying to move, and obviously sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, this is close. Sabrosa right next to Roger. Tries a dive. Sabrosa sees it. Roger sees it, goes wide, so he gets a better exit. That's quite smart by him, but it's really close for the second, third, and fourth. But like you're saying with Stu, though, he's at 6 now, so he's gone up through pit stops. So it looks like D-Man's possibly pitted. But yeah, a bit of frustration, as I know he likes the Nürburgring track, but you can make up for it at the end of the season, as I believe the Nordschleife is one of the tracks we're heading to.
Absolutely, I think that he'll be certainly targeting that race, but there's a long way to go before then. And Roger the Dodger there, you could see him leaving plenty of room on the inside on turn 1, wasn't he? Just in case Sabrosa absolutely went for it and sent it, but he thought better of it. And yeah, like you were saying, a really close racing now between second, third and fourth. Chris Doherty and Stuart Davis have lost a little bit of ground to these guys, so the two newcomers here doing absolutely fantastically, aren't they? And you can see how hard they're pushing. The Porsche, they're riding the curbs, kicking up some gravel, and he really wants to chase down Roger the Dodger in this Renault, and they're both absolutely going for it and seeing if they can catch Cherry Berry's Audi. And as the night sets in here now, you can see the lights on the cars coming into play now. And those lights can be really distracting in your rearview mirror, can't they, in certain parts of the circuit? And we know some of the drivers like to even flash their lights to distract their competitors even more.
Yeah, the usual suspect for that is Chris Doherty. As talking to the devil, here he is. Usually flashes lights when he wants to get past. Got no one in front at the moment, so we don't have to worry about that. He's being chased by Stu. Stu goes a bit wider. That will help with his exit speed. Now Stewpot now going into the little chicane at the end. Good driving there. Nicely exited. He's down in 8th, which is quite surprising. You'd have to think he was a bit faster than that, but might not be his favourite track. I know he really likes Spa, so he'll be looking forward to that one when that one comes up. As you see Alex Brown with the McLaren firing some flames out the back of it. What do you think of that colour scheme? Do you like it?
Oh, well, for the McLaren, I would say it's a bit different, isn't it? And we know Alex, he tends to go with that sort of colour scheme because of the business he works for. His family business has that sort of colour scheme, which is why he goes for it, which is fair enough. But yes, for a McLaren, you do have to look twice, don't you, at it? It's not your typical McLaren colours, let's say.
Yeah, at least it's got a bit of chrome on it, like the old Formula 1 cars, but on board with Sabrosa now, chasing down Roger. Bit deep into that corner, but at least he can swing it back in and get a bit of a better exit. But it looks like he's losing ground to Roger, and definitely Cherry Berry in second.
Yeah, I think there's about 4 seconds separating those three, so there really is no room for mistake between those three. They're absolutely on the limit, chasing after each other, and there's no room for error at all, is there? So let's hope that they sort of concertina up and we can see a wheel-to-wheel battle at some point, because at the moment, although the drivers are obviously pushing absolutely to their limits and the limits of their cars, there's no actual wheel-to-wheel banging going on. But we're at lap 11 out of 16, you can expect plenty of action towards the end here. And Roger the Dodger attacking the curves a bit too much. Oh, and that's Sabrosa through on the inside in the Porsche. I was just saying they weren't making any mistakes. And then suddenly Roger the Dodger there just gets a little bit too greedy on the curve. Very easily done through that chicane because there is a lot of time to be gained there by attacking the curves. And a little bit too much though. Thankfully he hasn't lost out too much ground though. And he's back now pursuing Sabrosa's Porsche. But now, after being the hunted, he now becomes the hunter, so perhaps things will get a little bit easier for him as we see a replay of this.
Yeah, just like I said, if you attack the curve, you can gain a hell of a lot of time, but attacked it a bit too much. Looks like it puts the car into the squat, it just flicks up, 2 wheels. It said you can't drive fast on 2 wheels, unless you're on a bike, I guess. It puts the car sideways slightly, and that's just enough for Sabrosa to go on the inside, so thanks very much. I'm having third.
Yeah, that's his podium gone, but is it? Because he will undoubtedly he'll fight back. We've seen his fighting spirit so far through this race, and well, both of the newcomers have been absolutely fantastic so far. Really good, clean racing, hard racing going on, and just one little small mistake, you can see what it does. But it's not over. The fight for the podium, and so far, I think most of the drivers have pitted now, haven't they? Scuderia Sam, they're up in first. He's got 36-second lead over Cherryberry. Do you reckon that'll be enough when he pits?
It'll be close if he's not going for tyres, which I doubt he will be in this late in the race. He should just come out if he times it right, but it's going to be very close. And talking of close, you've still got Roger and Sabrosa battling for the final step of the podium. So we see Stu now going down into that little hit, going down to the bottom hairpin. It's a good thing it didn't rain, because this is pretty much a massive water trap which would have affected them. As we see the trademark flames of that AMG, it's more like a flamethrower half the time, that car.
Certainly, it's maybe sort of in keeping with the colour scheme of that car, orange and whatnot. And you know, Stuart Davis often goes with the orange. He's a marshal at a karting track in West Wales karting. So he's seen plenty of racing action, and he knows he knows exactly where to place his car for trying to distract the drivers in front or trying to defend. And Mr. Lunge's name is affectionately known in the league because of his antics when it comes to lunging, as you could probably have guessed.
Yeah, Chris will probably keep that in mind, even if Stu is quite, well, not that far behind. He's quite good on the brakes there. He will definitely give it a go if there's a gap. He's definitely not afraid of that. He's quite close now, and if he gets a good exit here, he'll have a good run on Chris. He looks like he's got that good exit. He's definitely got a slipstream as he's flashing lights to warn him, saying, "I'm going to have a go at you, son," straight into the hairpin here.
Yeah, two of the most powerful cars on the circuit, the Mercedes and the Lambo, going wheel to wheel. Stuart looking for a lunge. Is he going to go down the inside? No, he's just shaping him up. Oh, but Chris Doherty runs a bit wide now, and Stuart's through, but Chris will have the inside line for turn 2 now, and leaving each other plenty of room. Stuart leaving the inside line there, and they're almost banging wheels now, going into turn 3, and Chris Doherty now brakes a little bit late, releases the brake pedal, just to ease the nose of that Lamborghini into 5th place there, just ahead of Stuart still. So Stuart there just shaping up his competitor, and Chris Doherty doing an absolutely excellent job of defending there. And we know Chris as well, he's a very clean racer, isn't he? He leaves plenty of room, whether he's attacking or defending, and Stuart knows that, so he can place his car well there. And both of them, they're doing a great job of not touching, and that's exactly what we want to see, isn't it? Great bit of racecraft by the both of them there. And now going down the hill again, Stuart trying to attack him and trying to shape the car up for a good exit.
Yeah, he's trying that wide line and cutting inside just to straighten the car up a bit faster, so he can get the power down up the hill. And as that's where he won the Mercedes big strong points, is it's got so much torque out the corners, it can really just fire you along onto the back of the other cars. We'll probably see that now going down this back straight of it, just catching the Lamborghini up nicely, getting ready to line up a move ready down at the hairpin. But it looks like they might be careful, as Free Gazelle is ahead of them, about to be lapped, you have to imagine. Hopefully he stays out the way of them. Will he do it? Yeah,
coming up to the last corner though. I think Chris flashing his lights to let him know he's there. He's seen him because there's a bright coloured Lamborghini coming through, followed by a bright coloured Mercedes. And Stuart Davis compromises his exit slightly because Free Gazelle was in the way on the racing line. But he does a good job there to stay out the battle, and Free Gazelle, well done there, well played. He's not really racing anyone, but Stuart Davis now coming back at Chris, having a look. Is he going to dive down the inside? Yes, he is. And Chris Doherty sees him coming just about, tries to cut back, but there's no room there. Stuart Davis is slightly compromised too, and I think he's through. Yes, he is. And Chris Doherty now cedes that position to Stuart Davis. A great bit of fighting. Oh, and a little bit out of shape from the both of them there. I think Chris Doherty comes off worse though. I think he's spun. Yes, he has. Look, he's on the grass in that Lamborghini. And we know Lamborghinis used to make tractors, but we don't want to see that car on the grass. And he gets going again now though, but I think he ceded that position to Stuart. And the two experienced drivers having a battle there. Stuart comes off best this time at this track, but now we're looking at the two newcomers having a fantastic battle. Roger the Dodger coming back now at Subrosa's Porsche.
Yeah, Chris is a bit unlucky, just tags the back of Stu's car, and that's all it took to send him around. As our leader now, Scuderia Sam, goes into the pits, taking his only pit stop he needs. It'll be close to Cherry Berry, I have to imagine. It might be a couple of seconds in it. Talking about a couple of seconds in it, Sabrosa and Rogers still batting away. There's only second between the two of them. It's so close. Let's see, no tyres going on the Ferrari. That's to be expected. Maybe a bit slow. It usually takes about 6 seconds if you don't want tyres. So you can see the lap time, the gap really coming down. 12 seconds now, 11, 10. It's really going to be close. If Cherryberry gets a good exit, which you can see him in the background there, he might be able to get close to him out of the Mercedes arena, but might be just too far back.
Yeah, I think so. Coming down into turn 1 now, Cherryberry braking hard. You'll be able to see that red Ferrari just ahead, but just out of reach as well. And he'll be chasing hard now to see if he can catch him in this last couple of laps. Only 2 laps left to go though. And this is Chris Doherty's bright green Lamborghini trying to defend Stuart Davis, I'd imagine, is it? Yes, it is. So Stuart having a look in that Mercedes. And 2 quite different cars, but 2 very powerful cars indeed. Chris there going a little bit wide by the looks of it. Stuart takes good advantage of that. But now Chris has the inside for the next corner. And you can see there the 2 drivers really knowing where each other is and having really good spatial awareness and showing plenty of respect to each other too, to allow good clean racing.
Yeah, it's brilliant craftsmanship there. And I think this is the actual move that got Stu past. Later on the brakes, a bit braver. There's a gap there which Chris left before he thought he wouldn't come back from there. But brilliant move.
Yeah, I'd imagine he was hoping something similar to the last lap would have happened, where he could just stick it around the outside and have the inside line for turn 2, but didn't quite work out for Chris that time, and it allowed Stuart up into 5th, but I think that's as far as he'll get, unless these 2 we're looking at now have a bit of an incident, which, it's not out of the question. They are fighting very hard for the last podium spot there, so Stuart will be pushing hard to see if he can get within reach of some opportunistic extra points towards the end of this race. We're on lap 15 of 16, so it's coming to the end now. And one of the best things about this championship is the number of different cars. And you look at the top 7 or 8 there, and they're pretty much all different cars, aren't they? Incredible.
Yeah, it's got obviously Ferrari leading. You see an Audi here of Stewpot. There's an Audi in second as well, and there's Stuttgart's finest in the Porsche in third. The Renault, Alex's McLaren here. So yeah, there's a good mix. There's also hopefully he'll be returned for the next race. Duchev has the the Cadillac, sorry. So yeah, it's a really good mix of cars.
Yeah, and the other Lamborghini of Adam as well we're missing from this race. Hopefully he can return. As we're watching Loopy McGee, he's had a bit of a quiet one as Loopy McGee. We've seen him get some really solid results in past races, but he's down there in 10th today. And maybe struggling to get up to speed with the Audi, or he hasn't got really anyone to battle directly. He's a little bit behind D-Man. I guess that's his nearest competitor. He's way ahead of 11th place Free Gazelle, and we lost Alex CDL from this race. You can see down there in 12th in the Gulf liveried Mercedes. So unfortunately for him, who is our most recent champion in the Caterham Championship we recently ran, he won't be picking up any points here today, which is not ideal at all, is it? But it is a long championship, and although he'll be on his back foot, I think he'll come back strong at Long Beach in round 2. He does seem to like that track.
Yeah, it's a bit of a kicker for him to have no points. You could imagine he'd want to have been at least top 5 at this race, even if he was behind Sam, who was looking favourite around here in practice, especially in that Ferrari, as it's just brilliant around this track. But unfortunately him, but like you said, long championship, it's anything can happen. And talking about anything, hopefully Sam isn't hoping anything happens here as he's going back onto the back straight in the last lap.
Yeah, it's not long to go now for the race leader, just a few more corners to pick up 25 points to open his account for the season at round 1, and very welcome points that will be indeed as well, with some of his most expected nearest rivals, let's say, not scoring too many points here today. Cherryberry we're expecting to be strong throughout this championship in the GT3. He's coming in second by the looks of it at the moment. But anyway, coming up to the last corner now, and Scuderia Sam rounds the last corner and gets on the power.
Yeah, coming around the final corner, gently on the power, you could imagine. He doesn't want to spin it. And across the line, great win there for Sam. A couple of seconds back from him is Cherryberry going across the line now. Very good second for him. You can imagine he would have wanted to win, but second will do. And congratulations to Sabrosa in third. Just beats Roger, who will be kicking himself off that little mistake at the chicane, but great first results for the two new guys there, third and fourth.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That was a great battle between those two. Really enjoyed that one. And Stuart Davis, he probably wouldn't have enjoyed that one as much as he was hoping, but still a good haul of points in fifth there. After some adventures, it has to be said. Chris Doherty in the Lamborghini coming across the line all sideways in sixth. Crazy Stewpot now in the Audi. That will be the second Audi to cross the line. And the first, actually, of or any of the manufacturers to have two cars across the line, Team Audi. So congratulations to Crazy Stewpot. Oh, and Alex Brown spins just 2 corners from home. What's he doing? He's doing donuts for the crowd or something. Doesn't he realise that he's got D-Man in the bright yellow Ferrari chasing him down hard? Or maybe he's just taunting the Irishman, I'm not sure. But Alex Brown gets going again now. He probably sees the yellow headlights of the Ferrari coming up to him. Rounds the last corner. By the looks of it, unless he does any more donuts, he'll be crossing the line to pick up points for 8th position. And D-Man will be crossing the line for 9th. And then we've got Lupi McGee picking up the last point there in 10th position, coming up to the line now. And there's confirmation of the race results, and I really enjoyed that with some really good battles all through the field.
Yeah, it was really good. Scuderia Sam takes the triple. He gets pole, fastest lap, and the race win, so he'll be happy with that. But it was pretty close from second down to fourth in the end. Good little battles there, and Crispy gutted by the little half spin that cost him 5th place, you have to imagine. But it's brilliant just to see in the top 6 all different manufacturers.
Yeah, I think 7 of the top 8 there are all different, which is astonishing. But it just shows you how close all these drivers are and how close all these cars are as well. And we'll go to Long Beach next, which will be very different to this track. It'll be really interesting to see how all the competitors shape up there, won't it? Whether the Ferrari will still be strong there, whether the Mercedes can come back and have a great one this time. You see them down there in 5th in team standings. Ferrari leading the way ahead of Audi, street cars, and Porsche and Renault, also ahead of Mercedes.
Yeah, we see some photos here. Sam's getaway, which wasn't the best, but it didn't matter in the end. Stu's moved around the outside. It looks like Stewpot in the pits. And that odd D-Man livery there, and Alex there in McLaren.
Yeah, so what can we expect from Long Beach, Alex?
Plenty of 90-degree corners, hopefully some close racing, and just a fun racing as a whole.
Sounds good to me. Don't miss it. See you next time.